Representative Delozier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary, I'm over here.
Oh, sorry, ma'am.
It's okay. Confusing you. Real quick, I have a couple different areas to hit, and some of the questions were hit, so might be a little bit of follow-up. But on the slides that you have on the website that you talked about the budget and talked about the consolidation of the departments and everything else, one of the slides in particular talked about where multiple inspections and audits happen by different entities, obviously by the three agencies in particular, being DHS, Health, and Aging. At this point in time, you know, and we've asked this of other agencies as well that have similar purpose. Many times they go in, a lot of inspections, they have to deal with government bureaucracy the whole time, every time somebody is in there. Why are we not cross-training those particular entities now, even before possibly a merger in and of itself, so that we're not burdening a lot of these entities with multiple inspections when we're all there kind of looking for similar issues?
I think we do make an effort to try to have folks understand the programs that are there. I think one of the tricky parts of it is that a good licensing program is a program that has knowledge of the program that they're licensing. So sometimes it's hard to say, expect someone who is licensing one type of program to license another. They all have a tendency to ask for slightly different information.
Oh, absolutely. It's just a matter of, since they have similar, I mean, it's all health and welfare of that institution and everything else, just cost savings across the board long before we even get to the fact of agency crossing.
I think we're headed in that direction, and I think that the consolidation will help us move forward at a much quicker pace. But I think when you're thinking about a consolidation, you're thinking about all those different things. It's a shift in that mindset of when we're going to go out there and we're going to ask folks for information, ask them for them once, and don't make them repeat themselves. Don't make them provide the same information over and over again, and get that system to be a lot more simple than it is.
Absolutely, and I think that we need to be doing that at any point, whether the agencies can merge or not, as to have that cross-training. Switching over, a lot of my questions were asked about the 820 and the grads and everything else. You mentioned the fact that you think the 820 is really going to be this year's number of grads. I thought the average per year was about 600 to 700. So why is this going to be higher?
I believe that is, Nancy, the number, the 820 is our estimate for this year, or is it include other folks as well? There's a graduates in 17-18, yes. So they're for this year. That's our estimate.
Why is it? I guess my question. The average is typically 6, 7. Why is this one higher?
So maybe Nancy, maybe you can come up and.
Because we expanded the waiver to include autism.
Oh, okay. So she doesn't know. It's we expanded the waiver to include folks with autism, so that made the number go up a little bit.
Okay, and with the 820, is it typical for you guys to use that money in and of itself and go back and finish off what wasn't served and then work into this year, like you did with last year?
Typically, paying the bills for services already rendered is one of the first things we have.
But we didn't render the services, my understanding, because you didn't serve them.
The money that I mentioned that are needed for supplementals is for services that are rendered.
Supplementals. I'm just in this particular case in and of itself. So we didn't. The ones that are going to go back, we're going to take a look at those. And how long is that service for?
Which service are you talking about?
When they receive the waiver, how long are those services for? Is it a full year service or is it less than?
For this year's budget, yes.
Yes, it's for a full year's service.
Yes.
Okay. And to switch again over to still under the ID waiver and everything else, the services that you had asked for, the $9.3 million, what are those services for? It just describes it as new services. What is that $9.3 million for 17-18?
So maybe Nancy, why don't you just come up and I think it's for community participation, but let Nancy, who's our deputy for these programs, she can answer those questions a little more detail for you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, you have to swear in, but.
Oh.
That's okay. Nancy, if you raise your right hand, rise if you would mind. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is true to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief? If so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you. Would you give your full name and your position at the department for the record?
Okay. Nancy Thaler, and I'm the Deputy Secretary for the Office of Developmental Programs. So you asked about the $9 million, right?
Yes, the $9.3 million. It just says additional services. What is that for?
We are in the midst of renewing both of our large Medicaid waivers, and we are one of the things we need to do is at a service called Community Participation. And it's a service that aligns us with the new federal rule. We currently have about $150 million of federal funds that are associated with services that have no community participation, no integration. And so this funding allows those agencies, sheltered workshops, adult day programs that serve about 20,000 people, to enhance and broaden what they provide to people.
Okay, so that 9.3 is directed to that?
Yeah, correct.
And is that, by drawing down that, will that allow us to draw down then the federal money?
Correct.
Okay.
It assures that we don't lose that funding.
The $150 million?
Yes.
Okay. And quickly, the supports coordination services, there's an increase of 23% with that. It's going from 61 million to 75. What is that increase for?
Support coordination, I don't think that's the service that's in the...
Oh, it's just the one that it was listed under. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was just going by the line item.
I believe that the number is there are two numbers, 109 and 65, I think, and those two numbers represent a couple of things. It's the annualization of our existing services and people rolling forward. It includes any changes in our Medicaid waiver renewals, and it also is where we did the fee schedule changes, which we do at the time of renewal. So there are several things built into that amount of funds.
Okay, and that 23% covers that from 16-17 to 17-18?
I'm sorry, I'm not connecting with the 23%, so I don't.
Oh, I just did the math problem. That's all. Okay, and maybe I'll follow up with you then
Sure.
to nail down to make sure that was exactly, we're on the same page.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.